Now we're going to start with an exercise called the supine reset position for an assessment. And it's something that we're going to be doing in both of the mountain exercise routines. And the goal of it when we do an exercise is to just calm things down in the body. It's a way to reset, and it's a way to just allow the body to kind of do its thing and for our head to get out of the way. For the assessment piece of this, I just want to teach you what I want you to be looking at when you're in the routine, when you're doing this in the routine, right? First part of letting go is going to be explained in the exercise, but from an assessment piece, it's also a way for us to notice how our body is coming into that routine that day, right? We're paying attention to how the body's making contact with the ground, how certain things might be changing in the way our bodies feel from a day-to-day perspective. And it's just practice. It's just practice. It's practicing slowing down, it's practicing paying attention. And I promise that if you spend time with these really easy, gentle assessment movement exercises, it will get easier and better as you move to the more challenging ones. So I'm going to get into this position and I'm going to walk you through what I want you to pay attention to. All right, to get in this position, we're going to kick our legs up on a couch or chair or anything that allows you to be in this nice elevated position here, right? And you want to do your best to get the knees and hips to align, but if there's a little bit of an angle, that's totally fine. Same thing with the knees and ankles. We want it to be aligned as possible, but if you're tall like me and the ankles are a little bit lower than the knees, that's okay. But do your best. From there, we're going to take a strap and place it around right above the knees right here, okay? So I'm going to hold the mic in my right hand. So I'm going to demonstrate the exercise and explain what to do with the right hand because it's going to be out of commission for me. But it shouldn't affect the demonstration for you, all right? First of all, this might not seem like much, right? You may be wondering why an assessment is this simple. If you dedicate attention and time to this, it will serve you greatly in the future. So I just want to start with that, right? To get into the position, your hands is going to be to your side like so. And again, the right hand is doing the exact same thing, right? And from there, we just do some breathing. And then we start paying attention to how our body's making contact with the ground, okay? Starting with the low back, sacrum area is usually the most obvious in this position, right? Because there's a lot of pressure being put there. And I just want you to pay attention to how the left side is making contact with the ground compared to the right. Or maybe it's more of the middle. Whatever obvious sensation exists in that area of your body, let's bring our awareness there, okay? But let's not get stuck there. Let's now move upstream and go to the mid-back. Same thing. Is there a difference from side to side? Is there some other obvious sensation that's coming up? Moving up to the upper spine and shoulders. It's very common for one shoulder to feel like it's making contact with the ground more than the right. Maybe one side of the shoulder is almost lifted even, right? We can also go to our thighs and knees and down here in our calves and see if there's anything obvious happening here. So this is an assessment, but it's also a movement. It's also an exercise, right? And when you do this every single day in the mountain sequence, you notice that things start to change. You don't want to sit here in this position and say, oh, okay, I noticed that my left hip is making contact more with the ground, so it feels like I'm rotated. So in the exercise, you try to unrotate, or untwist, and that's not what we want. Not in this position, right? Here, it's an opportunity just to get out of your head and allow the body to do its thing and see how things change every single day. If you're consistent, if you do this exercise and the other ones in the routines, you notice that things start to balance out a little bit and become more even. And it kind of shows you what's possible if you stay on course, right? And stay on this journey. So again, taking stock of whatever is the most obvious here, we can also pay attention to our head and see if the head wants to kind of rotate in one direction or if it feels like it's kind of twisted. And some of these things may not be apparent at first. My recommendation for people is to just notice one thing a day. One thing. If you found one thing, like for example, I felt like my mid spine is making contact with the ground more than the right, that's good. Job well done for day one, or for that day. So a little bit each day is what we want. Not the whole, we don't want to solve the whole puzzle overnight because it doesn't work like that. Last thing I want to mention is you can also put your hands above your head here, and that's going to feel different. And do both hands, right? I'm just holding the mic with my right hand, but place both hands above your head. And from there, you might feel some pins and needles up there in your arms and shoulders. You may feel some other sensations happening up there. There may be things changing in the lower body and lower back. So you don't need to do this the first day or even the first few days, but after a while of doing this every day in your routines, you can start assessing how it feels when your hands are above your head. And it may be a completely different experience. I know it was for me, because when our arms are above our head like this, it requires a lot of stabilization happening at the spine and shoulders. So just something to play around with. And again, I know it doesn't seem like much, but start with less is more in the beginning, right? Start with less. Let's pay attention to what's happening. Let's get better at being mindful and aware of how the body's feeling from day to day. Okay? Good job.